Chapter 5. Ah! I jumped to my feet at the sudden pain of my skin being pulled violently, and saw a boy standing at my bedside with a jumble of cords attached to suction cups in his hands. My heart started beating fast. Ah! It's Matsuda, isn't it? Isn't it? Not wasting a second, I leaped straight into him, but just like a matador, he nimbly stepped aside. My head crashed into the wall as if I was the coyote, tricked by the roadrunner. I could see stars spinning around my head. Why are you avoiding me? Because you have a swollen face. You can't go calling a girl's face swollen? I turned my shaky feet and peeked into a mirror I found on top of one desk. My face was packed with violet blue specks the size of small coins. Swollen sure enough. But that's because you pulled those suction cups off my face so violently, Matsuda. I was in a hurry. Oh, I wouldn't mind if you go right here. I'm not in a hurry because I have to use the toilet. Of course, how silly of me. Matsuda never has to use the toilet at all. What do you even think I am, ugly? You're the most sublime being in human history, of course. Don't include me in your ridiculous delusions. Matsuda exhaled a big breath, as if giving up. I've had enough. If I keep talking to you, I'd go weird in the head too. He started tidying up the trolley. Anyway, I have more business to attend to today. Go home, quickly now. But why? Naturally, I strongly objected to the proposition. I don't wanna. I'd be lonely. Honestly, you're such an annoying girl. Matsuda narrowed his eyes and slowly stepped in front of my face. He grasped both of my shoulders tenderly. Close your eyes. Just do it. Close them. As my heart beat rhythmically at Matsuda drawing near before my eyes, I did as I was told to and closed them. My entire body became hot. I felt as if I was about to melt. The blood vessels behind my ears pulsed violently. This situation could only mean one thing, right? It's a terrible cliche, but what else could it be? It is, isn't it? It is! Then, as the anticipation made my heart go boom boom boom, I felt Matsuda moving behind me. Before I could even wonder what was going on, he started pushing me forward. In a second, I was thrown out into the corridor. Ow! I collapsed on the corridor's floor from the excessive force of Matsuda's shove. It was a small mercy that I had clean underpants on. The next treatment is in 3 days. Be a good girl and stay in your room. Don't go out on needless walks, said Matsuda before I could even get up, and then shut the door loudly behind him. Ugh, he tricked me. My shoulders drooped, but since there was nothing I could do, I simply left the neurology lab, crestfallen. As I exited the biology building, the first thing I did was check my notebook. I had to go back to the dorms, but since I forgot where they were, I flipped through the pages of Ryoko Odanashi's memory notebook as I walked. Eventually, I found the school map it seemed I drew all by myself. I guess this is a good time to do a full-scale review of my notes and explain the full picture regarding Hope's Peak Academy. Here we go. According to my map, Hope's Peak Academy's campus is shaped like a large diamond. It's divided into 4 quarters, east, west, south, and north, each the size of a full-scale regular high school. The east quarter, through which I walk now, was the heart of the academy, where the buildings and facilities used by the main school are located. Many of its buildings were still under construction, but there were also several magnificent, envy-inducing research buildings for various fields, much like Matsuda's biology building. In addition, it seems that this quarter is also home to the staff building, which students are forbidden to enter. Then there's the west quarter. It seems the buildings and facilities for the preparatory school are located there, but I don't think I've ever visited it. Unfortunately, there isn't much written in my notebook about it. The south quarter is where Hope's Peak Academy's student dormitories are. In addition, it seems there is a convenience store, a bookstore, and various other shops where necessary supplies can be bought. By the way, it seems only students belonging to the main school are allowed to live in the dorms, and that it's a special perk that doesn't even cost money. Then there's the north quarter, which is apparently currently vacant. The only thing left there is the old school building, which was still in use until just recently. For the time being, it seems it's been left neglected, so naturally, entrance is forbidden. In other words, there isn't much to say about it. Finally, at the very center of the campus, surrounded by the 4 quarters, is the Central Plaza. A large, park-like space overgrown with trees. It's often used as a relaxation area for the students. but it appears entry is forbidden between 10 at night and 7 in the morning. Well, I don't plan on walking around in the middle of the night, so it seems like it has nothing to do with me. And so, thanks to the information-packed hand-drawn map, I managed to make my way to the dorms safely. Then, ignoring the greetings of the students who passed by me in the corridor, I went straight to my room. When I entered the room, I was met with stickers reading, "This is my room," stuck all around. Yep, this is the right place, there's no question about it. After confirming this important fact, I stood near the doorway for a while, staring into space. But no matter how much I tried, I couldn't think of anything I wanted to do. So eventually I simply collapsed into my bed. Nevertheless, it seems I already took a midday nap somewhere, because I couldn't fall asleep. Reluctantly, I decided to kill some time. For me, killing time means exactly one thing. I took out Ryoko Onanashi's memory notebook, and still lying on the bed, started flipping through its pages. Everything that's written down in this notebook is the undeniable truth, but I can't remember any of it. In other words, it feels like I'm reading a non-fiction book about myself. The excitement of experiencing my own past vicariously is an amazing form of entertainment that only someone as forgetful as myself can enjoy. I read about what I talked with Matsuda about and what he said to me. Most of the notebook was about Matsuda, but that's exactly what makes it so much fun. Then, as I continued flipping through the notebook, my eyes stopped on one single page. That page was packed with sketches of a boy's face. My heartbeat wasn't as fast as it could be, but increased slightly in speed. These are probably portraits of Matsuda, but since my heart isn't beating that fast, they're probably not very good likenesses. Maybe I should try to make some amendments? I think the nose is all wrong. No, maybe it's the eyes? I can't really remember what Matsuda's face looks like, but I used my heartbeat as a measure and carefully took to redrawing the sketches. That's probably how bomb disposal personnel feel when they go searching for landmines. No, I guess it's a little different. And so, after messing with the portrait for a little bit, I felt my heart beating a little faster than it did before. I did it. I couldn't wipe the smile off my face. If I just continue fiddling with the sketch little by little, I'm sure it will eventually look just like the real Matsuda. I probably did the exact same thing before. I just don't remember it. It's just that working on this sketch requires every bit of my concentration, and I can't keep it up for very long. Tired, I placed the notebook next to my pillow and turned to lie face up. Then I started to whisper, "I want to meet Matsuda, I want to meet Matsuda, I want to meet Matsuda." It was the only thing I could do. Right now, the only thing I can do is whisper deep inside my heart how much I want to meet Matsuda. There is nothing else I can think about. Nothing else I can do. Nothing else I should do. I can't remember anything else after all. Not even my family or my other classmates. For me, the people living in the outside world and what they do feels just like watching a boring stage play from the sidelines. I can't treat them as real beings. I don't even feel I live in the same world they do. Noisy classrooms, sweat-drenched PE lessons, festive lunchtimes, stopping to grab a bite after club activities, sitting on the ground chatting with friends, embarrassing conversations with the family. I can't even feel envy or regret that I'm missing these things. They simply have nothing to do with me, and that's it. But the only existence keeping me from being entirely cut off from the world is Matsuda. And that's why I can't think of anything else but him. I don't want to stop for a second to think about any other thing. I want to meet Matsuda, I want to meet Matsuda, I want to meet... Thump. There was a strange sound, and I came back to my senses. I raised myself from the bed, and found a letter shoved under the room's door. It's from Matsuda! It was the logical conclusion to make, so I jumped to grab the envelope, and hurried to read the letter inside. Dear Miss Super High School Level Pitiful Forgetful Girl, I've taken all the precious past memories you have so meticulously chronicled. There are a lot of them, and they all chronicle your past with Yatsuke Matsuda. That's the entire weight of your past right there, isn't it? Isn't it? Isn't it? By the way, if you think I'm lying, just look under your bed. That's where you stored all your memories, but there isn't even a single one left. That's because I took them all. Well then, let's get back to the main issue. If you want your memories back, come to the fountain in the Central Plaza tonight at 1 a.m. Come alone, of course. It's not like you even have anyone to call, is it? That's fine then. That's all. Thank you for your cooperation. I'm looking forward to hearing from you. My body stiffened as I finished reading the letter. It stiffened, and yet it also quivered like a plate of jelly. In other words, I was so disturbed that the previous smile seemed appropriate. A threat? What's going on? I don't get it. But this problem couldn't be solved with a few questioning lines. First, I have to check under the bed like the letter said. When I hastily did so, there was nothing there. To tell you the truth, I don't even remember ever storing old notebooks under there. But if I really did and all of my precious past memories of Matsudo were stolen, it's terrible. It means all I have left is this current notebook I hold in my hand. That's all I have left? Just one measly notebook? That's what more than 15 years of memories amount to? Suddenly, a strange feeling descended upon me. Is this what they call a feeling of loss? Until now, that kind of feeling was unfamiliar to the forgetful me. I'm sure people who learn to live with a small wound will always have to endure a certain amount of pain, but that wasn't the case for me. I had no idea how to deal with this new pain I currently felt. For the time being, I was simply angry. Whose idea of a prank is this? My voice was strained and shaky, my fists grasping the letter, crumbling it. What? Why? I let my thoughts be led by the anger. Perhaps this is the work of some sleazeball scheming to get between me and Matsuda's love. I think Matsuda is very handsome and looks cool, so many girls must be after him. For such girls, the growing love between me and Matsuda must be an eyesore, so one of them must have succumbed to desperate measures. She took my memories hostage and is probably going to do something to me once I answer her call. Oh, she's such a mean woman. My anger reached its boiling point and was about to erupt like Mount Etna. But it didn't. It appears that I have even forgotten how to be properly angry. But that was just natural. Someone as uninvolved with the world as I am is a stranger to feelings of anger. Therefore, I have no idea how to funnel it. I guess anger that originates in the imagination alone has its limits. In any case, since I couldn't let my anger out, my feelings rapidly cooled down. I guess I'll just do as the letter asks and think about it later. Having completely cooled down, I lay on the bed and waited for 1 a.m., the appointed time. I read the letter over and over so I wouldn't forget what I was waiting for, and then, as the time approached... But this won't turn into a fight, right? It's gonna be okay, isn't it? Harboring these depressing thoughts, I left my room. It was the Central Plaza, right? I walked down the pavement with heavy steps, checking the map in Ryoko Odanashi's memory notebook. The world at night. Everyone was asleep. Tonight, I was the only person walking about. I could sense not a single other human being in the area. I did sense the presence of things which were not human, but I should probably not think too deeply about that. To tell you the truth, the thought of just going back to my room crossed my mind several times, but leaving my memories stolen did not appeal to me, so my feet reluctantly pushed me forward. After walking for a short while, an iron fence came into view. It was set up to completely block the road I was walking along. According to my notebook, entry to the Central Plaza was forbidden between 10 p.m. and 7 a.m., and that's probably why this fence is here. In other words, if I can't overcome this fence, I won't be able to reach my destination. This time, I seriously thought about going back, but at the last moment made a firm resolution and started climbing the fence. A few moments later, I somehow managed to land on the lawn on the other side. I started walking around the Central Plaza, looking for the fountain I was told to go to. The darkness deepened. It was probably because this area was thick with trees. The same trees that were usually brilliantly sparkling green under the light of the sun were now painting the plaza pitch black in the starless night. I walked around in darkness for a while, until suddenly my field of vision grew wider. In front of me was a small square. In its center stood a lone street lamp, relatively illuminating its surroundings. Near the lamp, I could see the fountain I was looking for. The water coming out of it made a cute, soft splashing sound. As soon as my consciousness understood I had reached my destination, my nervousness increased. I stepped slowly toward the fountain with excessive caution, but after just a few steps I stopped in my tracks. I could see someone standing on the other side of the fountain. I could only see the upper half of their body peeking from the shadows of the trees, but it was pretty clear I was looking at a man's back. Excuse me? I boldly raised my voice, but there was no answer. I guess I should go just a little bit closer. Leaves rustled under my feet. Nevertheless, the man didn't make any sign he had noticed the noise. I continued stepping forward and raised my voice again. Was it you who called me here? Once again, there was no answer. He couldn't possibly not have heard me. My body became heavy. A growing sense of dread pushed down on both my shoulders. In no time, my tightly fisted hands were covered in sweat. Nevertheless, the lure of mystery pushed me forward, and the contours and the faint figure in front of me gradually became clearer. I saw a man wearing a suit. His hair was white and his neck covered with countless deep wrinkles. Suddenly, a gust of wind came blowing by. Sway, 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 sway. The man's figure swayed feebly in the wind. I felt cold shivers all over my body. They felt as if someone touched the back of my neck with an icy hand. I faintly heard a different part of me yelling at me to stop inside my brain, but my feet moved on their own accord as I approached the man and looked at his face. Our eyes met. My eyes met the bloodshot red eyeballs bulging out of the man's wide-open eyes. His face was pale, and the dark blood vessels on it made an eerie pattern. A tongue that looked like a rotting sea slug hanged down from his mouth, reaching the nape of his neck. He was not standing on the ground. He was hanging from a rope around his neck. That rope was now swaying slowly in the wind. It was a sight that, just by witnessing it, could snatch every bit of heat from your body. But this is not the time to write flowery descriptions in my notebook. I should run away. This has nothing to do with me. Drip, drip. Instead, my eyes dropped to the source of a strange sound. Drops fell from the man's tiptoes and gathered in a small puddle under him. For some reason, there was a notebook lying in the puddle. The moment I saw it, I felt intense electric currents running through my brain. On the notebook's front cover, in blurry yet clear letters, was written, Ryoko Odanashi's memory notebook.